From apartment buildings to trailer camps, television is now penetrating into every walk of American life. 2 million new sets are being produced every year. For Americans, as sports-minded as any other people, one of the biggest things in television programming is athletic events.
You're watching a clip from a film made to excite folks to join the television industry when it was new.
The technicians of television have provided the eyes and ears so that the faraway fans can follow what is happening the very instant it is doing so.
I'm David Hoffman, independent documentary filmmaker, and back when I was young, I saw that film, and that film provoked me to become a television director. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But first, I want to ask you about TV. I know that millennials, for the most part, you don't watch TV. You watch Netflix maybe, but TV is not your medium. And my sons, I have a 14-year-old and an 18-year-old, they couldn't care less about television. My wife watches Netflix and Amazon, dramas, and we watch the news together. That's our TV today. But there was a time when this thing was unbelievably powerful. But before I share with you television at that time, which is really an amazing moment, I got to tell you this not related story. So that film convinces me to go to the NYU Summer Film School. I'm going to become a television director, say I. But to do it, I got to be right near the school because it's 14-hour days and I'm living on Long Island, 40 miles away. Got to get an apartment. So I get this really cheap apartment only a block away, and I come to the summer school, and what I find is something some of you know about who live in cities. Cockroaches. Millions of cockroaches. Step out of the bed in the morning, crunch on some cockroaches. I think in television at that time, it was a big deal. Huge production. Behind the camera. I never wanted to be an actor. Behind the camera. Lighting people, sound people, camera people, script people, set people, clothing people, and directors and producers. Massive. And they told us it was like a 5-year process before you could become a director. You had to join the union. What was I doing that for? You had to actually become a page in one of the networks. The networks has these pages dressed a certain way and said hello when you entered the building. Usually they were pretty people. I didn't see myself as one of those. I wasn't going to become a page and I wasn't going to join the union. So what was I going to do? Well, I picked up this cheap Bolex 16mm camera, a wind-up 16mm camera, and I shot my first documentary film on Long Island, right near my house where these migrant workers were living in houses that housed ducks. It was disgusting. One of my friends told me about it, and I went and shot this film in a weekend. But that's another story. So think about the industry. Pundits said, and they were right, this was the most powerful technology that ever entered family life. One day you got nothing, phone, party line, newspaper, magazine. The next day you got this box, 12 inches in my Levittown house, black and white, and through that came literally the world I had never seen. You know, we used to see these slideshows in school, but really, I hadn't seen anything. I saw where food was grown. I saw the farmers. I saw the deserts. I saw California, which was so different than where I lived, looked absolutely fantastic. I saw mountain climbing. I saw Canada. And all of this that I was seeing was much more than I had ever seen in school. I saw the president. I saw bluegrass and country singers, not just on the radio. I mean, I loved the music, but I actually saw what these people looked like. I saw westerns like Hopalong Cassidy and Wyatt Earp and the Cisco Kid. And my favorite, the Lone Ranger. We used to call him the Lone Ranger because he would ride in looking perfect. He would have a woman who loved him, and then he would leave. That was like manly to me. In fact, there were several girlfriends that I had in my early teenage years, and I messed it up because as soon as they were attracted to me, I left like Hopalong Cassidy. That's what I'd seen on TV. Now, people think of TV as passive medium, which it is, but it's extremely social at that time. First of all, you could sit kind of in the back of the living room and hear your parents watching shows, and they would be talking to each other kind of like you weren't there. You learn things about your parents. And then you sat with your friends, and I sat with my friends because there were parents, I'll tell you about that in a minute, who hated television and wouldn't let their kids watch. My parents thought it was an educational experience, and I watched everything at that time. But sitting behind your parents and hearing that gossip was unique. And being with your friends together, watching these cowboys, these westerns, these comics was fantastic. And then, you've all heard about this, family time. It's true, we don't have family time anymore. There is no more sitting around the TV together. There's no more dinners together, really, for many families. That's another era. And it sounds really nice, and it was. I guess it was. It was great. We used to watch all kinds of stuff together. Game shows, the $64,000 question. Comedies, Milton Berle, Sid Caesar. These guys who had come out of vaudeville and came on TV and made these shows hilarious. You laughed out loud, and it was all live. So mistakes occurred. Bloopers, they called them. And they were these LP records sold of bloopers from the radio and bloopers from television.
These dogs will generally do better in field trials.
Hey, watch the microphone.
I can specifically remember one. The guy is singing to children, and he says, "Good night, little friends, good night." We off the air? I guess that'll hold the little bastards for a while. That's what he says. They didn't flip the switch off. He was gone after that. And of course, there was sports. Baseball, my dad was a big baseball watcher. I watched that with him. We didn't have popcorn and sodas at that time, but we saw it all. I mean, there was this thing called the Ed Sullivan Show. He was just an unbelievable draw for people everybody wanted to see, live. Elvis Presley had a name beforehand, but it was only when he appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show that he became giant. My sister, who is a little bit younger than me, she watched the Howdy Doody Show. Now, you've all heard the Howdy Doody Show. It's howdy doody time, it's howdy doody time. This was nationwide, tens of millions of people. Fantastic. And it was commercial television. There were commercial breaks. So we saw a lot of commercials, a lot of car commercials. What do you think the most popular commercials were? The ones that ran the most? Tobacco, right? Very few of my viewers probably remember Be Happy, Go Lucky.
Be happy, go lucky, get better taste today.
And when the commercial breaks occurred after people got used to it, you won't believe this, but water resources diminished because so many people went to the toilet at the same time across the United States. And all kinds of studies, which I saw later, showed that the more that they mentioned the product on television, let's say 5 times in a 1-minute commercial or 10 times in a 1-minute commercial, the more times they mentioned it, the more people bought it. We were like robots. We didn't realize yet the power of it, and we had no DVR that could speed the damn thing up past all these commercials, which almost all of us hate. Now, you wonder, what did parents and experts say who disliked this? Well, they said it hurt your eyes. I don't know where that came from. It hurt your eyes. And so kids were restricted. They could only watch, was it Saturday morning where the comics occurred? A lot of kids could only watch on Saturday morning because their eyes would be hurt. There were others who said that the TV made us stupid. A lot of you write that, in fact, on my YouTube channel. The TV was neither stupid nor smart. If you watch smart programs, you got smarter. If you watch stupid programs, I guess you got stupider. But it certainly wasn't the box that was causing it. Some parents thought that TV caused violence, like video games caused violence. No evidence of that, but they blocked their kids from watching it. Some parents didn't put a TV in the house. Now, how did I know that? Because those were the boys who came over to my house whenever they could. Just, going over to David's house because they really wanted to watch TV. They became the TV addicts. People like me, I could take it or leave it. I had seen it from the time I was a kid. Some parents thought that the TV was kind of evil, that it brought the devil into the house. And then there was the issue of race. When we saw black people, they were always in these old Hollywood movies, dancing and singing and playing jazz, something like that. So for the first time, documentaries began to appear that showed other Americans. It was like, to me and all the other kids, it was like, holy moly. So I'm about to run this documentary to attract you to join the industry, and I hope I've given you a little sense of what it was like at that time. How exciting. Who would do anything else, said I to myself. I bought myself a camera because I wasn't going to wait the 5 years, but I wanted to be on television. That was fantastic. into people's homes around the country, going to people's homes around the country to film them. You're about to see the film that I saw that got me to join this industry. And in another video, I'll tell you all about what happened to me when I first did.
The great American skyscrapers become a part of the fastest growing new industry in the United States. Television, the fascinating shortwave medium of sight and sound. Atop the big towers are television transmitting antennas, each of them sending out millions of electrical impulses a second to direct a stream of electrons on distant television screens. But the other end of the circuit, the receiving sets in countless homes, is perhaps the most important. For all that the technical side of television has long been known to scientists, this new medium will open new horizons in education and entertainment to all. For Americans, as sports-minded as any other people, one of the biggest things in television programming is athletic events. Television cameramen, covering the games from several angles, capture all of the highlights for the fans who can't be in the stadiums. But today, you no longer have to be in the grandstand to see and hear what's going on. The technicians of television have provided the eyes and ears so that the faraway fans can follow what is happening the very instant it is doing so. From remote pickups, all of the play as it is going on is immediately transmitted to thousands of homes. Seated comfortably in the living room, a family can watch each thrilling move the instant it takes place. These two boys hope to be big league stars themselves someday. They don't miss a bit of the play on the field. Not everyone can squeeze into a stadium which holds people merely by the thousands. Television holds them by the millions. The athlete's audience is vastly increased. Horse racing is also high in U.S. sportsdom and high for television cameramen too. Here again, complete coverage is afforded the viewers, in this case men who have stopped briefly at a local club. Having only a few minutes to spare, they can easily see that certain race and especially that certain horse. The sport of kings, and brought with all of its excitement miles away from the racetrack. A major segment of the mass television audience is children, and for the youngsters, what else is better than magical make-believe? The wonderful animals and characters of the puppet shows have an eternal charm. It's the same for the television kids of today as it was for the boys and girls of 100 years ago. Besides entertainment for children, television is also valuable for educating them. Already it is serving in classrooms and schools, and its uses for teachers are limitless. To run this gigantic new industry, many people are required, and thousands more will be needed as television daily grows larger. Everywhere, U.S. educators are preparing to fill that need. Here in a class at New York University, young men who hope for careers in the technical side of the industry learn how television is actually transmitted and received. They study all of the complex equipment, beginning with the sensitive iconoscopes that pick up an image so that it can be ultimately turned into pictures on a television screen. Other classes are necessary for still another side of the television business, and that's the side before the television camera, the performers, writers, and directors. They too must have scientific knowledge, but for a different purpose. In this class, conducted by New York University and a major television studio, men and women who plan to work in the creative fields of the new medium learn firsthand about the tools of their trade, the image orthicons, lights, microphone booms, all of the elaborate paraphernalia that is necessary to produce a television show, whether it be a simple sport or news event or a full-dress production within the studio. In the United States, television, like radio, is a matter of private enterprise, and as such is very competitive. With this competition in mind, technicians and cast alike strive to attain a flawless production. Tonight, this television workshop rehearses a play of its own. One of the instructors assigns various students to cameras, lights, and other pieces of equipment, and advises them carefully as to just how the director wants the production shot, from what angles and at what time, and so on. Meanwhile, the director himself is at work with his actors. An all-student venture, even tonight's play has been written by a member of the class. Unlike the theater, where there is usually time for weeks of rehearsal, in television there is generally only 12 hours of preparation for actors. In television plays, every night is opening night. And then the show goes on. The entire production is now in the hands of the director, who must handle his co-workers and their television gear with every bit of skill. What is more, he has to use them within tight restrictions of space and time. What the television audience sees, of course, are only the players, who are on their own now and must be letter perfect. Behind the scenes, there appears to be chaos. Actually, it is a highly skilled concentration of students and equipment, with each tense in the knowledge that their production is now on the air. The director controls and coordinates the lights, cameras, microphones, floor manager, announcer, and sound engineers. He's somewhat like the conductor of an orchestra, but with the added disadvantage of having to worry about a clock, since his show has been allowed only so many minutes on the air. A high point of the students' drama has been reached, and both cast and crew concentrate on getting the best melodramatic effect out of the scene. This, of course, is not a professional troupe or crew. However, these students are working very seriously at gaining experience. For it is with these eager people and thousands of others like them that the future of television rests. Theirs is an industry that was commercially begun in the United States less than 10 years ago, but already offers unlimited opportunities in both technical and creative fields. With its sensational power for education and entertainment, television has become a true phenomenon of 20th century USA.